Alright, so in this one, as we have done in the past, and I feel like you guys enjoyed as I keep getting asked, hey, react to this. Are you going to react to this? Are you going to react to this? Goresh is top 10 list. He made one for January here, which, if it's for January, it's very, it's very early in the month, January 4th. I assume we're getting an LF, and I would hope to be top 10, but I assume this is kind of to conclude the Legends Fest, right? He did make a top 10, what is this called? Ranking top 10 best characters in the game, 2023 January edition here. Okay, yeah, I'm going to be reacting to it, so enjoy. We're going to be, oh wait, I gotta get my headphones. Enjoy. I had a lot of fun in my MV video, by the way, if you couldn't tell. Very, very much fun. UGB being the cycle Legends loves to do. The cycle of broken unit, cool for a couple days, very cool, still remains being cool, it's just very broken as well is what UGB is, which I assume Bro is #1. Just a thought, by the way. So let's begin and let us react.
I'm going to be covering another installation in my top 10 units list for Dragon Ball Legends. This is the January 2023 edition, so if you're watching this in the future, just keep that in mind. The newest character we've released, of course, is
early
Ultra
January.
Gogeta Blue right there on the screen.
I assume the next LF, the January LF, because we're going to get January LF, we have monthly LFs, will be, I assume they'll be top 10, right? We haven't had the greatest luck with post-celebration units being these god tier things. Puddle is an exception. He was post-celebration. I believe he was he a post-festival unit? Was he like, I think he was after Gogeta Blue and Broly, I think, something like that. Yeah, right, he's that old, I think. And, clearly, you know, he's God, but Bardock didn't age amazing. Bardock got a plot already. These type of vibe units, so hopefully the unit after Festival will be as good as Puddly Boy, which came after a big celebration. I don't know if it was anniversary or festival. I'm pretty sure it was a festival, though. Legends Fest.
I imagine we're probably going to be getting an LF at some point within this month as well, so just keep in mind that this is the most recent released character.
Okay.
So before we get into the actual rankings, I always like to discuss 3 points regarding the list, which are as follows. Number 1, all characters are considered at 14 stars, best teams, best equips, max title boost, etc. So essentially the best possible environment for each character.
Great.
As I think it makes the most sense to judge each character at their maximum potential.
Yes.
And that's also how I've experienced using each character the most. Number 2, I like to view this as a top 10, you know, sort of best characters in the current meta, instead of just who are the best characters in the game. Just because a character is ranked, you know, like let's just say number 4 on the list this time, doesn't necessarily mean that they'll always be better than the character ranked at number 5, right? So
to kind of expand on that, what he means, because I don't think he'll go in depth, there's no point to, but like just to expand. Let's say you consider, I don't know, you consider the 4s as like a top 2 character. Well, the 4s have lost a little bit of value because there's a very strong purple. So while the 4s maybe are top 2 to you, the 4s have to go down in value because, hey, instead of this unit being the top unit of a blue unit, now it's a purple. So the 4s kind of have to go down because they start off as green, their value goes down. It's a team-based top 10, right? What matters on your entire setup. Gains or loses value.
View this list as a current meta snapshot of the game.
Great.
Number 3, this list consists of rankings that are entirely of my own opinion, which have been formed from
Don't
my
be a
personal
dick.
experience playing
Don't
the
be a
game.
dick.
So please
Comments.
feel free to
Don't be a
disagree
dick.
with the list, and let me know down below if you disagree.
Oh my God, he
and
said
why.
VT
So
is
being
where?
said, let's
Oh
go
my
ahead and
God,
jump
he
into
said.
the list.
Don't do that.
Starting with number
No,
10.
it doesn't matter.
Alrighty, so starting off the list at the number 10 spot, we have Ultra Super Gogeta. This guy is now
USG. Obviously, by the way, this video is just my opinion, reacting to his opinion. That's literally all we're doing. But USG, I'm really trying to consider this. Top 10 on 10. I would have USG higher, personally. I think he's gained a buff with having a perfect partner, a perfect synergy of trio, honestly, of Red Vegito. His Zenkai being as okay as it is. It's not anything perfect, but it's okay enough. Also, Ultra Gogeta Blue, then USG, that's a perfect color synergy there. No endurance, but it's really not ideal to run endurance right now because you're just going to get nullified on endurance on rush anyways from UGB. But USG, yeah, this is okay enough. I could see USG being as low as top 10. I could see him being as high as like 6, 7-ish area. I could see him being as low as top 10. Like I could even see him being
Over
off
a
it,
full year
to be
old.
honest.
This got released, of
A little bit
course,
low damage.
last year during Legends Festival.
Year
the
old.
first ever summonable Ultra character.
A little bit
And
over
with
it,
the
actually,
addition
'cause this one was
of
extended,
Ultra
this
Gogeta Blue, I
fest.
definitely feel like this guy has jumped up enough in value to warrant a spot on the list here. So like I mentioned, Ultra Super Gogeta next to Ultra Gogeta Blue, and of course Ultra Super Vegito, the 3 Ultra Summonable Fusion Warrior characters, making a pretty solid Fusion Warrior team, I think is what allowed this character to now, I guess, be mentioned
USV is core.
and included in the list here. I think for this number 10 spot,
okay,
you could have like 4 to 5 different candidates. Like there's a lot of options, I think, for characters that are around the...
you could argue Broly is number 10. You could argue LF Rose is number 10. You could argue, I guess if you don't have VT high, you could argue VT. Like, I could see VT as a normal placement as, like, 8 through 10. But, like, if you're going to lowball them, like, 9 through 10. Like, there's a couple units you can have. You have 17, Hellfighter 17. I don't think it's top 10 anymore. I could see him being number 10. Like, there's a bunch of units. They're all within the same realm of power. It's just whose team is the team. And USG's team with Ultra Gogeta Blue is more of a team than not, compared to, like, okay, Rose on Future, or Broly, who's replaced by UGB. Like, it's kind of how that goes.
Same power level and about as valuable as his character. So this is probably the most contentious spot on the list for me. And
usually it's
definitely
10,
the one where I would say has the most amount of characters you could argue for this slot in particular. But
Agreed.
this guy, I mean, even though he's a year old, his damage definitely has fallen off. His tanking has definitely fallen off. But one thing that has not fallen off is the fact that this guy has the lock-in mechanic.
Exactly.
That lock-in mechanic where you have a dead ally and this guy then locks in the enemy for a long time is, I think it's 5 counts, is pretty damn insane still to this day. On top of the fact that this guy does grab anti-endurance with his ultimate, like, you can have instances where you're locking in, like, Blue Zamasu with this character, and you can just get a free kill, essentially, on the character.
Now imagine Red Vegito lock-in, and his lock-in.
Able to do that. One of the best revenge characters in the game. On top of that, he has a really good Z ability. I think, you know, the unique, pretty good character. I'm sure you guys know this character on the list now.
Number 9, USV.
Right in front of Super Vegeta.
I would say USV is actually lower than USG for me, just because for USG's case, what's his biggest flaw right now? He's going to run into the 4s, right? That's his biggest scary character to fight. Thing is, with the 4s, there's 2 problems with the 4s. Nothing particularly with them, but what they have to fight against is you have UGB to fight against, so you just have him always in, and you could just kind of color synergize and always have it be where you're taking type advantage, rather your type advantage, or you're taking type disadvantage damage from the 4s, so you're not really spooked out by the 4s. Maybe they get like a Snipe Blue card, okay, that's tough, but like, even then, he does go neutral when someone's dead. Like, USG can just kind of retain himself more concrete. I can see why USV would be higher as well, because who's the red? Like, really, who's the red? You have Cooler attempting to return to the meta. You have Red Vegito, who's just a lock-in unit. You have Red Pan, who's just a support unit. And you have, I guess, MUI or the Droids kind of attempting to contest. They're not really there. They're not good enough individually, but they're trying. So the biggest scare is going to be Cooler, and even then, I mean, you still aren't that fearful of Cooler. Like, I think Cooler's value is existent. I think it is very situational. Like, if you run into a USV in a opponent's team and you know they're going to bring a Super Saiyan, then sure, his value is great. It's still, you know, Cooler. It's not number 2, but it's okay enough. Also, Cooler could argue top 10, by the way. Like, he's in top 15 realm, so everyone in top 15 can argue top 10. But USV, I just feel his neutrality is lacking comparison. His cover null is lacking because his is on gauge, USG's is on green. Like, I think USG just innately has more going for him with the color synergy as well than USV. But if you were to have USV here, I would say that's fine. I would put him personally like 9-10 as well. So yeah, if we're going to agree on it, then I'm just going to move on because we agree. But USG, I think, could be just... I think it's just simply better right now. USV also is a little bit better off right now, though, because a lot of units can be debuffed. Prior to this, it was Puddle, Beast that were running around. Both can be debuffed because Green Card cancels attribute upgrades, or downgrades, rather. From Puddle, then Beast was just immune. So with that kind of ending, because hybrids aren't like the only team running around right now, honestly, it's more movies than anything, USV does gain value. It's just, is his value always fully there? I wouldn't say always. USG has more sustainable value, but I think their values are close enough to where you could kind of flip them. I wouldn't particularly, but I could see it at least, right? So if we agree, I move I mentioned 17. I said he's not top 10. We watch the ads. Support your creators. Support your creators. Please, be nice to them. Especially January. Dear God, please.
On the list, I have the GT Android 17.
Let me hear this. I don't agree, so let me hear.
One of the best Sparkings, 1% Sparkings in the entire
I think he's the worst of the
Obviously,
three
during part one of
from,
Legends
like,
Festival next to the Tag
Pan,
4s.
him, Tomasi.
Now, when we look at this list,
I think he probably
the
agrees because he's this low.
The difference between this list and the prior list, the only like new summonable premium character that's released has been Ultra Gogeta Blue. So the main difference between this list and the prior list are just going to be the differences in the meta that Ultra Gogeta Blue sort of, you know, created for the game. I don't really think this guy got impacted too much by the release of Ultra Gogeta Blue. They're on completely separate teams. I mean, I guess you could technically, if you wanted to, use Gogeta Blue on the GT team, but I don't really know how often you want to do that. But this guy, I think, you know, sort of doesn't really get affected that much.
I disagree.
By Gogeta Blue. I think
but let me
he's
hear
on
his
his own
point.
teams here. And I think the role that he plays on that GT setup with the Tag 4s and LF Yellow Super Saiyan 4 Goku is just sort of been the same. I don't think it's really been impacted that much by Gogeta Blue. So I'm going to
heavily
have
disagree
this
on that.
guy in the same spot as the last list. I think he was either 8 or 7 on the prior
he's not
list. So
gonna
he might have moved
touch
up
on him?
one slot or down
I
one slot.
want to pause and talk.
I don't think this guy was really impacted that much by the addition of Ultra Gogeta Blue. He's still able to do what he wants to do. He's still able to combo. Obviously, Gogeta Blue's gauge could be an issue for this character, but you can say the same thing about
Not even
every other
that.
character
It's not.
in the game.
It's the whole team.
I'm comfortable
of
with him
GT.
being at number 8, powerful support unit for GT that can also pretty much do you know, some decent offense as well. He has the main ability that can lock you in. He has the green card that can nullify endurance. He has the rush in his back pocket to nullify.
I'm gonna pause here. All right. So let me talk about why I'd lower 17, because it's not because 17 is intrinsically bad. He didn't lose value individually, right? Again, this is a 3v3 based game. So if a strong purple is coming out to the game and you have a situation, I've said this a good amount of times right now, and I think it's pretty accurate because I've shown it off, where you have fusions is very hard countering GT. And I think that makes every GT character actually lose their value a little bit because they're being so hard countered by a team that's going to be very commonly run. That's going to be with the new Ultra. Let me explain how. So Ultra Gogeta Blue, he can stop the 4s, whether it be the Goku Vegeta variant, because he can obviously go neutral. You also have USG on that team. So you have blue, red, purple, right? And then what GT is, their core lineup, like you just said, is a purple, a green, a yellow. So what you do, how you'd make this work, very simply, for fusions here, that makes GT get fully stopped by fusions, and where I would think GT is actually a, you know, top 5 team, but I think it's 5th, lower than fusions. Again, let me explain here. So you have blue, red, purple with the Revegito, Ultra Gogeta Blue, USG. All right, got it. I mean, you could also bring USV because he could be entirely neutral and advantage, but let's just say you bring the blue, red, purple because you want to bring blue, red, purple, right? So what you do, you catch them genuinely one time, whether it be Forku, whether it be the 4s. You catch either of those units one time. Red Vegito can most likely combo into a death of Forku, but let's say he can't, right? Let's say he can't. Most likely by the timer counts, you will have the ability to go neutral with Ultra Gogeta Blue. You will have a rush. You will have something. So let's say you lock in the Forku or 4s. Okay, from there, you most likely get a kill because if you lock in the 4s with Ultra Gogeta Blue, you're getting the kill, right? You're doing it mid-combo. You're going to a blast into a strike into UGB. Then boom, boom, boom. They're locked in. 10 timer counts. Okay, 4s or Forku, completely vanished, dead. Let's say, hypothetically, it's the 4s that die there. So what they have left is Forku and 17. Forku cannot kill Revegito. I'm sorry, Forku is not him. He cannot do that. Obviously on Rush, yes, he can do that. But let's say, even hypothetically, you didn't bring USG, you brought USV. You can bring either or, it doesn't matter. But let's just say you brought USV. But you also have Endurance. So you have to have 17 rush out your USV, which again, these are plays that you could very easily avoid. Like, just play very much more safe than unsafe, because you already got like the big kill. You got the big guy, right? You got the 4s. From there, GT cannot come back. I mean, if it's Forku dying as well, with Revegito just getting the lock-in into a rush, and then, okay, boom, I got that whole situation done and dealt with, then it's the 4s. Well, let's say you have the USG set up, then you have double advantage the entire time. You can maintain your advantage, right? Also, again, neutrality with USG and UGB is very common. So then you have 17 as like this last guy, as this last line of defense, and 17's not him. He cannot do a comeback. He cannot create a situation where like, yup, it's my turn to shine, I can do all of this. So you have Forku, who can't use cover rescues because the lock-in's going to happen, and then you're just kind of screwed from there. Then you have the 4s, who could easily get sniped out because you get caught once into a Rev Vegito main ability. Okay, boom, you have UGB getting that kill out. You have USG, whoever it is, getting that kill out because you're advantage at that point because you maintain double advantage right there. I would say not 17's value going down solo, but GT's team value has gone down because of Fusion's having a hard counter situation for all of their situations. There's nothing they can do about it. Okay, I did my ultimate. You lowered sub count by 10. Great thing. You're locked in. You can't lower sub count. You are fucked at that point. If I lock in your 4Ku or your 4s, you are fucked. Your unit is dying in that situation, whether it be from rush, whether it be from combo of cards. Someone's going to die from Red Vegito's lock-in into UGB or USG on that GT setup. And that's kind of why I think 17 would fall down, because GT's value is... Well, this guy's probably going to be the last one alive at that point, because you're kind of getting screwed over by color advantage, color disadvantage from Fusions. GT's value goes down. So it's not 17 losing value, but it's GT's whole team going down because of what just came out, right? That's at least how I see it. I wouldn't have 17 top 10. I would have him like 13 through 15 type of vibe. It's not far off, but like to have him above the Ultras, I'm wondering how so, really. I don't see him being above the Ultras when the Ultra... I mean, that literal 2 units, if not just 2 Ultras on Fusions, just hard press the shit out of GT. Like, GT has to lose value there. If they can't even cover rescue, they can't swap out on their own merit, they, you know, they're getting locked in, they're getting their best unit rushed, their second best unit rushed, like, GT has to go down. And it's only GT because GT is more reliant on this cover rescue situation because no endurance, no anything like that. Unlike Movies has endurance, right? It has Beast Gohan. Unlike Future has endurance. It has fucking Zamasu and Puddle, all that stuff. GT doesn't have that. It's reliant on these cover rescue situations and cover chain situations, and that's not sustainable and doable when you're just completely locked in, right? You're less reliant on Rush versus GT than any other team in the game because you don't have to rush out this endurance-esque unit. You just have to click cars and kill, and you can retain your advantage very well with Fusion's core.
Rush, a pretty decent kit, so I've got number 8.
Long, but I think that was worth explaining.
All right, moving on to number 7. You guys will know
7?
The trend.
Damn, Puddle! I could argue all these yellow LFs are in the same realm. Like US, maybe not USV. I can argue, yeah, LFs, actually, not Ultras. USV, VT, and 4Ku. I guess USV could maybe fit in, but he'd be in the bottom, right? I can argue all these yellow, you know, big-time characters, LF, Ultras, whatever, can all be argued, like, this 6 through 10 area. Puddle particularly, what I argue is... I'd argue Puddle above VT, because Hybrids works better. So I'd say Puddle's like 6 or 7. 7, maybe? Yeah, I could see Puddle 6 or 7, so I actually pretty much agree with this. Well, let me just hear some things real quick.
My last, my last ranking, and then look at this ranking. There's going to be a lot of similarities moving forward from this point on in the list, so I'm not going to spend too much time looking at each unit. I'm just going to give my quick thoughts on each character, and we'll move on. Okay. I'd rather this video not be... It definitely hurts this Future Gohan, I think, because you see Blue Gogeta essentially every match. Like, that's the main character you're fighting against now. He's the new, you know, the new character everyone wants to get. He's the best unit. Yeah, spoiler alert. I'm sure everyone's shocked. He's number 1 on the list. We'll go over him last, but... this Future Gohan does definitely get negatively impacted by that Gogeta's ability to nullify endurance on the rush. However, of course, the main thing to note about this character is he does have type advantage over Gogeta Blue, which is a big positive. So I kind of net those things with each other, and this guy just sort of ends up being in the same position at the end of the day, I think, for me. So I have him at number 7. I mean, if you want to move him up or down a slot, sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that big.
I think this is a good slot for him.
I think it's a fun spot.
I'm going to move on to number 6, which is
6, huh?
Red Dragon Ball Superhero Pan. I guess the one thing you can say about this Pan as opposed to
her defense is
Gohan,
lower.
Because, you know, one of the most prominent...
I would say her value actually goes up. I'm pretty sure... I would assume his ranking of her has gone down. He probably mentioned it here, but... I actually say her value has to go up. I understand she's off boost. She's a lot more fragile. But, Movies. This is color... Again, I mentioned color synergy on Fusions with blue or purple. Well, Movies, you could probably argue and probably say, I don't know right now, but you could probably argue at least the point of Blue, Red, Purple Movies is the best team in the game with Beast, Gohan, Ultra Gogeta Blue, and Pan. So I'd actually say, with her being on 2 core lineups of hybrids of movies, honestly, you could do Sun Family with Beast, Fours, and Pan, and that's perfectly fine as well. It's not ideal, but like it's good enough, right? I would say her value actually has to go up. I would say from 6. If we're gonna have, you know, Beast number 2, Fours number 3, and Ultra Gogeta Blue number 1, I would say Pan has to be 4 or 5. Maybe 4 because of her teams as being core, more than, you know, being individually better than Zamasu, who would be 5. I would say she actually has to go up to 4 because, dude, if you're core on so many teams, like, you have to have your value. I understand there's problems with her, and that's a situation to deal with, but, like, clearly if you're core, there's not many problems that are, like, actually impacting you that heavily, right? Like, I think she has to be higher. I think 6 is actually some downplay on her. Like, I understand she's fragile, but that doesn't mean the end-all, be-all. Like, she still does the job she wants to do very well. Oh, I thought I skipped. I was gonna say, what the hell? Watch your ads. Is this Whole Foods? Hello. I thought I saw that. I go there often. Good food, good food. Is it? Oh, it is! Sponsor me. Thank you.
Seen for a while has been the general hybrid team, right? You have this Pan, you have
core
Beast
on movies.
Gohan, and then you have... I'm facing teams that have omitted Future Gohan and are instead running Ultra Gogeta Blue in the leader slot.
Exactly.
Pan and Beast. So that's like the new movies team.
Yep.
Which
Their
is,
value
I
would go
think,
up.
overtaken the amount of times I've ran into the pure hybrid setup now.
Easily.
But
Movies
that's
is
definitely one advantage I would give this
run.
Pan over Future Gohan, is she still retains her value, of course, even outside of hybrid teams, where she can be ran alongside movies.
Even Sun Fam.
Movies build with Beast Gohan. And
Which
Ultra
is
Gogeta.
hybrids, but
I guess you could sort of
Fours.
make the same case for Future Gohan on Future, because Future is still a pretty good team, right? With Blue Zamasu, you have Rose, you have all the other...
Future
decent
slept
characters
on,
in the team,
honestly. It's not really run as
Pan
often as
really,
it should
again,
be.
hasn't really changed that much since Blue Gogeta came out. She's able to still perform her...
Again, yes, she hasn't changed much, but her value has changed. Her value went up. She went from being core on this one really good team to core on a second, possibly best team in the game. Like, her value goes up. It's not, nothing changed. Her value went up. That's how it works. GT value went down because XXX unit, that I explained already, and XXX situation you could go over. Then Pan value goes up because, well, XY situation happened of this unit came out, this unit goes on her team, this unit, blah, 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 blah. So yes, her value does change. She does change from there. That's how that works.
Very well, the support functionality, the sub-count manipulation. Her damage is not there. I mean, it hasn't really been there for a while.
She's not
since
damaged.
she
It's
fell
fine.
off boost. The blue card
She's
is pretty
Vados.
hard,
That's
but other than that, she's not really doing a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm.
She can tank pretty well. I think obviously you want to build her defensively, but
This is the first
other
person
than
I heard
that, I mean, she's just sort
say,
of the same.
heard not
much
say
has
she's
changed
fragile.
with her. Still one of the best support characters in the game, if not straight up just the single best
She
support
is
character
the best
in the game.
support.
And,
Not
I
damage,
don't
overall,
really
but
see her
support.
falling off anytime soon, so I'm comfortable with her at number 6. Let's move
I
on
could
to
see
the top
that.
5. All right, so starting with
Yeah.
number 5 here.
Zamasu, I agree. Number 5 again. I would have Pan
who-
higher. I'm assuming just so far since I haven't seen Forku, and I assume VT's not on this list. That he's gonna have Forku number 4. Then the 3 fucking headliner. Well, Beast Gohan not headliner LF, but 3 big LF / Ultra characters as like the top 3, right? So I assume Forku's number 4, which I already went over why I think GT team has fallen down. I think their value has gone down. I think Forku obviously being yellow would be fine. I mean, I'll go over that when he goes to him, right? But Zamasu, I agree. I would say 5 just because Pan is on a better team, but Zamasu is a better individual unit. Zamasu is honestly probably the best, like, stopper. Like, if you could really get a stopper for Ultra Gogeta Blue, it'd be Zamasu with his green card, because that's not actually a projectile. It's more of a counter-esque green card situation there, / a close range one, so his green card really does save him. Even more so, he could do good damage, so yeah, I'm not going to argue this. I agree with it, so yeah, nice. Okay, yeah, there it is. I kind of figured that.
I understand why you'd want to do that. So, but I feel comfortable with him being at 5 here. So I already mentioned who was number 4. Let's go ahead and talk about him next. Coming in at number 4, we have...
Let me hear this, because I fully disagree.
Zenkai
I would say
Super
the
Saiyan.
highest Forku can be is 6. I think that's his highest, and even so, I would be able to argue something a little bit lower, but I could see 6 as the highest, for me personally.
And for Goku. This character is just gaining value as the days go by.
I actually think he just
with
lost
Ultra Gogeta
value.
Blue obviously being purple, that's the main reason why I have this guy one slot above where he was on the previous list.
Let me just say, before he goes off, because he's going to say stuff and I want to react to it. How do I word this? I would say he lost value because of the situation where GT doesn't have a full amazing foundation of situation right now. There's a lot of cover null going on, right? There's a lot of cover null happening. You have a lot of green cards from Ultra Gogeta Blue, it seems, from Pan, from himself, from all these situations. You have a lot of annoyances you have to deal with, right? So with that, I would have to say, even his cover rescue situation actually goes down in value. It's going to go worse in value because GT's not going to give up soon. GT's going to lose value, and then he's going to only have one cover rescue on like Sun Family, wherever you want to leader slot him. But I would actually say there's so much cover null that his highest value from his Zenkai actually is not that high anymore.
Well, I mean, technically he was 4 on the last list, but he got shoved down a slot from Gogeta Blue being added, and he's now up 1 slot because I switched his position with Zamasu. So that's kind of how this worked.
Understandable.
But I think, you know, with him having type advantage over Gogeta, plus the ridiculous amount of damage he's able to do, plus the 2 cover rescues, like his utility plus damage, plus like significantly good tanking abilities, I think are good enough to warrant this guy.
Not many reds as well.
At the number 4
we
slot
went over that,
team here. There are certainly matches that I've had using GT where this guy outperforms the Tag 4s.
Yep.
I've
second man,
had matches where this
because he's built up by then. Oh! Uber Eats, huh? Hey, it's alright. It's nothing crazy. It's actually, hey, it's not that great.
Today we're here to honor the legacy.
Oh, Cap!
It's not
I
like
like
it
Captain
happens
America.
once every 10 matches either. Like, I've had, like, multiple matches in a single play session where this character is eclipsing the Tag 4s.
Yeah,
he
you should.
can do that. It's not uncommon, right? He picks up cover nullification when you have a dead ally. Again, I mentioned his cover rescue ability.
You can get card just via something like that?
Match, which is really,
No, he
really
already has
good.
it,
It's
my fault.
pretty much just 2 free cover changes, right?
I already
His
argued my
damage is
point on that,
absurd.
but yeah.
His tanking is really good once you get his damage reduction ramped up. His ultimate is
Well, he has to re-ramp it, but yeah,
probably the
I
hardest
get what
hitting
you mean.
attack in the game. Maybe it's definitely in the top.
I think his ultimate raw, like without like a build up type mechanic, even though he builds up without a like FSK, right? FSK builds up by doing blast, and that's like a build up that you have to like keep like going over and getting over and over and over and over again. A raw attack type of thing. I think his ultimate is like. I heard it was top 2, maybe it's number 1, but I heard it was at least top 2, at least like peak situation, last man standing. He's already built up at that point. So a non-rebuild up ultimate, his ultimate is like top 2, yeah.
At very least.
Also his equips are old, like they're all old
yeah,
damage.
he's just a really strong unit. I wish his
his
green
ult
card would
hits
maybe a
hard.
little better. The one change I would make to it is it restores your vanish even when you miss with it. That would be really
Oh, the
nice,
green?
but
Yeah.
not really much I would change.
It's like
with
LF
this
cells,
character,
but
and
better.
I think they did him justice considering how bad he was on release. They definitely
And even with
looked at this
Plat,
character and were like,
he was
"All
not
right, how
him."
do we make him feel like a real, Super Saiyan 4 LF character?" So I think he's very, very solid. I'm comfortable with him at number 4 on the list. Let's go ahead and move into the top 3. Pretty sure you guys know who's coming next. Alrighty, starting with number 3, we have the tag Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta. I'm pretty sure.
So, just to say, I agree with all of these top 3 in this order. I know it's going to be Beast next. I know it's going to be Gogeta next. He even said it. So, yeah. I'll listen to these. I'll skim these end section here. Not too much to say because I'm going to agree with all of them. But I will say, for the units that aren't on here, with it being, I would say the only one you could... the only one you could argue that should be here that's not would be VT. I don't know anybody else that would actually be here that's not be like, I'm surprised he has Ultra Super Gogeta here. Like, I'm really surprised he has him here. USV I kind of expected, but Ultra Super Gogeta I did not expect. VT, I think they have a lot of downplay. Especially now, they do actually have a lot more value with like the anti-armor thing. I understand Ultra Gogeta Blue does have the gauge for blast and all that bullshit, but I mean, they still can hurt pretty well. There's not many reds. You can run yellow, blue future right now. Be very safe. Like, you are perfectly fine to run that and just like get top 1 in the world. Like, genuinely, you could easily do that right now. You're way too safe to be able to do that. Because you're not finding enough benched coolers on movies or enough MUIs. Like, they aren't even that scary, right? And also, you could just tag out with the fucking Vegeta Trunks. I would say they have to be, like, 7 through 8 as, like, a normal placement. If you want to downplay them, sure, have them 10th, I guess. I can understand it if you want to downplay the unit. But I think Vegeta Trunks has to be here. I think there's no real, like, discussion with that. I think their value is way too good with what everything is right now. I think Future's value of Yellow Yellow Blue with Puddle, with Zamasu, and with VT is extremely high. I think Future's a very slept-on tag right now. I guess because people see VT as underwhelming, but in all reality, they're not that underwhelming. Yes, they're worse than the 4s. They're worse than this Ultra Gogeta Blue, but it's comparing a top 3 unit to a unit that's top 10. Do you see the big differential between the top 3 and like a 7 through 8 through like 10 unit? It's very vast. So you're never going to compare fucking, I don't know, you're not going to compare the 4s to Ultra Super Gogeta, because Ultra Super Gogeta is a year old, right? Why compare this LF to LF? I guess because they're recent, one another, VT to 4s, I guess, but understand that not every unit has to be the pinnacle of PvP, which is what VT is. They're fine, they're alright, they're good enough, but they're not the pinnacle of PvP. And I guess even comparing them in a general sense is kind of goofy, but yeah, they're compared a lot, but they should easily be top 10 is my whole point.
You guys know.
I'll just hear some of this stuff. Again, I agree with it all.
Let's just start with these guys for now. I'm not going to go into everything they do because I've already explained this like 500 times.
Sad they were just number 1 for like a week.
Ridiculously strong.
Now they're back down to 3.
Their ability to just continuously
actually there were
combo
2.
for
Now
as long
3.
as they
That's
can
tough.
because of the cover change nullification that they gain whenever they tag out.
Yeah.
That is their strongest ability. I think that plus the cover change when the sub count manipulation when the enemy rising rushes or uses an ultimate.
I think their strongest ability, I think I said this before, I think their strongest ability is their green. It's not their I understand their tag out, you know, getting cover and all, that's great, that's awesome. If I can destroy your rush or gain my rush faster, and rush decides everything in this game, that's easily more valuable. Like, I would rather have 4 green cards in my hand with the Vegeta portion of the 4s than have this cover null for 100 counts. Like, I much rather that because I'm gaining Dragon Balls consistently, I'm going crazy with it, and I get to rush you out. As soon as I rush you out, okay, what the fuck can you do at that point? Nothing. You're getting screwed over, you're losing a unit, you're losing vanishes, you're losing a lot of situations where you get to time things in your way, and at that point, I can just easily catch you. So, I would actually say their green card, the Vegeta more green card, obviously because gaining your own rush, but Goku's green card as well, destroying your Dragon Balls of the enemy, very valuable. Then I would be able to debate the Rising Rush control they have with the lowering sub count on Ultimate, on Rising Rush, and Awakened Arts, right? So I had those debatable. I think the cover null will be 3rd most important, especially the situation right now where you're losing Dragon Balls pretty consistently because of Ultra Gogeta Blue. Gaining them is a very much harder thing to do. So getting those, I think, is more impactful.
It allows this character to not die.
Yeah,
the end of the match. So I think 9 times out of 10, you'll have this character as your last man standing.
I literally had that.
Or maybe
I had everyone back.
You get unlucky
because I lowered sub count by 10.
Like a sidestep or
yeah,
something,
I just,
and they just
like 5 swapped on somebody. It's crazy. Ridiculous they have that.
And then I guess one argument you can make from potentially maybe moving this character down a slot is Gogeta Blue now having type advantage over the Goku side of this character.
Yeah, that's the thing, but you're still running into Beast, who's a core on his team. USG core
I definitely do think
Fusions,
this character
right?
does get hurt by Gogeta Blue being added, and you can make the argument. I've seen a lot of people make this argument where it's like, oh, well, then you just tag into Vegeta. But the problem with Vegeta is a character.
2 problems.
How many subscriptions
okay, I guess
do you have?
I'll pause the ad. Screw it. There's 2 problems with Vegeta. Again, every team UGB is on, that's his mainline team, Fusions and/or movies. I guess if you want to consider God Key works as well, sure, why not? Is going to have a blue. You have USG, you have Beast, and you have Zamasu. You can't just get out. There's no just getting out in that situation because, okay, you swapped over your advantage to him, now let me become advantage to you. You can always retain your advantage to the 4s. Like I mentioned, this is why GT Team's value has gone down. This is why I think the 4's value has gone down here to 3, which everyone would probably agree with 3 as the 4s right now. I guess you could argue 4 with 4Ku. I don't think so, but sure. That's the situation that we're at, where you can always retain advantage against the 4s right now. Every single core team with UGB has advantage versus the 4s, and they're all a top 10 character that could have that advantage with the 4s. That's kind of the problem that the 4s fall in.
No, no.
And GT
Too many.
fall
That's
in.
where Rocket Money.
That doesn't do a lot of damage with each attack. He's attacking a million times, right? He has double card draw speed, and he draws a card when he tags in. So I think rather than him doing a lot of damage with one single card, he's doing a lot of different attacks. And all that does is it helps Gogeta get his gauge filled up.
Exactly,
get
the problem
his
with
gauge
Vegeta
filled
as well,
up,
yes.
And then it makes it
They have
harder
a lot
for
of
you to actually
problems right
continue
now,
your
but they're
combo
still
because
alright.
then you simply can't use blast cards.
All right, they're very good.
Against
They're top
Gogeta,
3.
the combo ends, and you get hit with a type neutral blue.
Yeah.
So it becomes
Fun.
a lot more
Fun.
tricky to actually use this character because I do think Gogeta is strong enough defensively to just straight up tank the Vegeta cards, right? The attacks from the
Because he doesn't have the crit rate that
considering how
and 40%
light
cut
he
pen
gets for.
Goku has. Vegeta doesn't
So
have
that
it.
is one
Goku has
issue of
40%
this
cut
character,
pen on
now
everything,
with
I think.
Gogeta being in the game, but I still
Vegeta
don't
does
think that
not.
takes away from this character
Tough.
enough to the point where
Tough.
I'm
It's
moving
dumb,
down the list.
honestly.
I think they definitely deserve
It
this
is what
spot
it
at
is.
number 3. Really strong character. Let's move on to number 2.
Yep.
Beast Gohan at number 2. The
Honestly,
king has
I don't care to hear
finally
about
been
Beast. I'm sorry.
dumpster.
I've heard enough about Beast in the last couple months. Tired of hearing about bro. Let me hear about US, UGB.
Gogeta Blue, the newest character added to the game.
Let me hear his thoughts on
I
him.
don't really think many people would debate this choice here. They specifically gave this guy like new mechanics just to make him the best character.
It's crazy
So
that his gauge is so good
things
as a
about this
defensive
character that I think
gauge.
solidify
Like, really.
his spot here.
Because it is defensive.
Other than that, he's basically just doing what you would expect out of like
So
the best
oppressive
character in the game.
as a
He's
defensive gauge.
Getting
It's
double card
ridiculous.
draw speed. He has infinite key recovery. He can get coverage nullification on green card. He's drawing a bunch of blue cards.
Okay, just going
he
over
has
his kit.
the first really powerful mechanic. I'm sure many of you have experienced this, whether you're using the character or fighting the character. Characters like Blue Zamasu.
nullify endurance on Rush,
Beast
yeah.
Gohan, who before this
It makes
character
endurance
released, were
units
kind of
not feel
running
as valuable.
around
They just feel like
unchallenged
normal
with their
units now.
endurance.
They always
Sure,
felt
you
like
had
a step
characters
above.
like
Now they
Rose.
feel normal.
You know, the Zenkai Rose, I
Yeah,
love Goku
the
Black,
diff
who could
between
nullify
Rose to this
endurance.
guy is
Androids
kind
can
of
nullify
big
endurance.
gap.
We've had characters like, Full Power Frieza in the
Because they're
past
just
who've
lowered
done
in
that.
one value. This guy's never
But
lowered in
to
any
have,
value.
Like this,
He's
like, this
always
is
the same
this
value.
is kind of like an Android situation where the Androids were, when they were the best character in the game definitively, it kind of feels similar. Like the thing with the characters that are able to permanently nullify endurance with their unique ability is that it almost always happens to matter pretty much on the rush, right?
Yeah.
You're almost always killing the character with the rush.
Yep.
And I think if you're fighting somebody who even like remotely
More
knows what they're
often
doing,
than not.
they're going to avoid their endurance character getting killed by the character that nullifies endurance by switching. Like that's just almost always how it works. So I think this character having that endurance nullification mechanic on the Rising Rush is good enough. Like I don't think he needed it to have that mechanic on like every attack. So I think that
If this unit had null endurance on every attack, right now he's like comparable to Beast, right? I would say if he had it on every single attack, he would be a league, not maybe a full league, but he would be like right there as like almost a league above Beast. Because you think about how much endurance is right now, and you could kind of get away with like, okay, like Future, once again, a solid team. Zamasu, Puddle, and then VT, right? You can kind of get away with like, okay, fine, Ultra Gogeta Blue rushed out my Zamasu or Puddle, whoever. Like, you're going to sack one off. Imagine he just, overall, could just beat the shit out of you and just kind of make that happen as every single card. Like, you would run... Future would not be top 5 if he had it on every card. Just wouldn't. If he had it everywhere, he would kill probably every team that could run around right now. Like, genuinely, he would. Because every team, besides GT, has endurance. You look at Hybrids, has double endurance. You look at Movies, has endurance. You look at Fusions, could have endurance, right? And then you look at Future, has double endurance. Every team has endurance. If this guy killed everyone on just cards instead of just on Rising Rush for endurance, he would be well above Beast. Again, maybe not a full league, but he'd be well above it. Like, there's too much endurance right now. If he had that, would be genuinely unfair. He's already unfair, but like
sufficient
more.
enough, right? It
So he's right.
puts those characters in check.
It's too
where they
good.
need to be.
That would have been too good.
And then the second thing, which I think is even more broken than that, is this guy's unique gauge. The fact that he can essentially cover change his own combos. It's
Very oppressive.
literally a brand new thing we've never seen before.
Very oppressive.
This is I guess the best way to describe it is it's the first anti-cover change nullification.
Yeah.
It's the nullification to cover change nullification, right?
It's very...
It's the first
Unique.
way you can legitimately stop a combo from a character that has cover change nullification active. So Beast Gohan is like probably the character that comes to your mind first when you think of cover change nullification, because it feels like he has it up all the time, because
that gauge be crazy,
I think, in the game. This guy can stop Beast Gohan's combos. All it is dependent on is your opponent using a blast card, but this character destroys your opponent's strike cards when his gauge fills up.
Yeah.
And
destroys your strikes and makes you do blast, because you most likely want to have a blue or green, because the RNG of draw blue or green compared to a strike or blast is very much lower. So you're just kind of forced either to bite the bullet, do the blast, get hit by this big attack, hopefully swap to your yellow, and he's not neutral at that point, Mr. Ultra Gogeta Blue. He got good fucking timing, and he's not neutral at that point. Or you just kind of let him field control everything, and if you let him field control everything, you're still going to lose, because you can't really... what can you do? You're going to end up drawing blast anyways. You're eventually going to have to bite the bullet regardless. So his gauge is the most oppressive thing in the game right now. Easily.
So if it's a
easily.
Yellow character attacking you,
especially because he's on boost, because he's defensive now.
Type neutral, and it draws you a blue card, and it gives you 50 key. It is like handing
only
you
3 times,
counter.
but
it is
that
like,
shit feels like forever, because you don't want to pop it.
And you could just, all you got to do is press the card, and you do half their HP.
Half? Generous! Ha!
So
more like 80%.
With a mechanic like that, with people literally being hesitant to even attack this character with a full unique gauge, like, it's very tough to even initiate against this unit. I don't know how they're really going to top this. I mean, they're going to have to think of something else.
Oh, they will.
Right? They're
They'll
going to
just make
something else new.
Can I tell you? The video's basically over, right? Can I tell you how they're going to top this? You know how he does it on Blast? They're going to do it on Strike. That's going to be so much more cancerous, just so you understand that, because it wouldn't just be on Strike. It'd be on taps, it'd be on tackle, it'd be on strike. It could even be on dashboard blue cards. I doubt it, but like it could be, right? No, actually, it would be. Because Gogeta's on projectile blues, or like any beam blues. Most of them, right? When this system that Gogeta has happens versus strikes, with more metas being more strike-based than not, that'll be the most toxic thing. I think Gogeta Blue is very toxic. I think he's very, very, just ridiculously toxic right now. Because you can't play the game. You're literally forced to bite the bullet, take damage, and then you can play the game again. And even from there, you're still hesitant as fuck because you just took 80% of your health down because he didn't play the game and he got hurt. Like, he rewards you losing. And that's a terrible system. When that happens for a strike-based unit that does what he does, oh, brother. People are not gonna like that. But for Goresh's top 10, definitely agree with a lot of spots here. I would say the main premise of where I would disagree is VT. I think I'll always have VT as this more good unit than underwhelming unit. I haven't seen anything that's like too terribly bad from them. I've used them. They're pretty okay. Nothing insane, but that'd probably be it. And then 17 I would remove from the top 10, but that would probably be where VT is anyways. So let me know what you guys think of my reaction to Goresh's top 10 best characters in the game of January 2023, as at the beginning of January, and I'll see you guys in the next one.